Hi, welcome to Bubba Rocks Media. This is my favourite series. It's the Rising Band series. And I'm so proud to have an Irish band with me today. And it is the lead singer, who is DJ. Welcome, DJ.
Thanks for having me on, Cheryl.
I'm so excited for this. So glad to have you here today. It's really, really cool to have an Irish band too. And yeah, I just want to get chatting away with you just about as much as we can. I know you have the debut album out, and I've been listening to it all week. And you're currently on tour. I know I've caught you in the middle of a tour, so I'll be excited to get chatting about all of this too. And yeah, and then we're going to play some tracks and we'll get chatting about those as well. So I'm excited.
Sounds good.
So the first thing I always like to do though, as you are a rising band at the moment, and you know, there's going to be new fans coming in. So I love a good origin story. It's my favorite thing of all time, just to hear how the universe actually brought these musicians together to create this unique sound that you guys have created. So if you can just begin there with how 13 Doors came about, and even the name of the band too, which is pretty groovy. So if you want to just go with that one there.
Yes, so the idea for the band has been around for a long, long time. I think originally, like the original Twitter page, I think was set up in like 2015. And it was just left on the back burner. It was so myself and Ed Hannigan, who produced and mixed our album that came out there, we kind of came up with this idea of, you know, we were playing in bands and different things, like we should do our own music. Life got in the way and it was just kind of always shoved down the line, and it was kind of, you know, yeah, we'll look at that. So there's been bits and pieces of songs and riffs and ideas kind of floating around the whole time. And then it was kind of 2019, 2020, I just realized like there's no better time than now to start. You know, the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago, and the second best time is today. You know, that sort of a way. So it just kind of started compiling the ideas that we had, which were some riffs, some choruses, a mix of everything. And then we got together with the rest of the guys, and we started recording. There was a lot of stuff that was kind of rewritten as we were recording it, rewritten on the fly. And yeah, we started recording kind of probably 21, started getting proper demos together. And then 22, 23 started releasing stuff, and we just released the debut album in February. It's been a long one, but...
Well, I've been listening away to it actually, and the first song that I heard is actually going to be the first track that we're going to play, which is called Lead the Way. I actually really love this one. I love a good riff. And I also love melody. And then of course vocals are really important to me too. And you guys just have all of that in one. So I'm so glad that my partner recommended you guys to me and I listened, because I was like, yay. But anyway, so we'll play the track now. I told him that, so he'll hold you to it as well. But yeah, we'll play that track and then we'll have a wee chat about it afterwards. So this is Lead the Way. Awesome track, dude. Oh my God, those riffs. Seriously. But like I love to hear, you know, just the creative process of a song. I'm fascinated by that. You know, I live in a household of musicians here as well. So, you know, it's always, I love to see that part of it and hear it from other bands as well, how you guys are actually creatively coming up with these songs. And in this song particularly, I'd like to hear its wee story, you know, its origins, how it came about. And then what way do you guys do it? Is it like one writer? Is there more than one writer in the band? You know, what is the process behind all of that side of it?
Funnily enough, that was the first single we released, but it was the last song that was written.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was written kind of as we were putting together the rest of the tracks. We're like, yeah, we're going to record this. We're going to record this. It was like, there's no first single. We were listening. I mean, it's like your children. You love them all, don't you? But we had nothing that was like that kind of first radio single. Mm-hmm. And so I just kind of sat down with the guitar one day and started playing away. And after a while, the main riff came out. Then the chorus, most of it was written musically in one evening. Sitting at home, it just kind of came out and was like, yeah, there we go. That's the song. Yeah, and then verses and choruses and stuff then that lyrically came after that. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I tend to write, tends to be the music first, and then that'll inspire a line or a word or an idea, and then it goes from there.
Do you get like a riff coming in, or is it like a melody that comes in first, or
It could be
does it
both.
vary? Yeah.
Yeah, it varies. It varies. It does tend to be either a chord progression or a riff, then something to build on from that, and then a melody might pop into, your head, and you kind of sing gibberish words just to get some sort of an idea of where the song's going, and then it goes from there.
And then do you pull the rest of the band in then, and you guys all come up with wee bits, or is it all just?
Yeah, I mean, so we all kind of write bits and pieces. So a lot of the first album was myself and Ed, who produced the album, because it was some ideas that we had for years, kind of floating around. My brother Cian, who's the drummer in the band, helped write one of the songs as well. He actually wrote. He's the drummer, but he wrote one of the guitar solos for. I couldn't come up with a solo, and I came out then one evening. He was just messing away with demos. He was like, "Well, what do you think of this?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to steal that." Yeah. So we're working on demos now already for the second album, and it's a mix of everybody. So Flash, it's got riff ideas. Pat writes songs all the time as well, so he's got choruses and riffs and a bit of everything. And then Cian, he's the same. He kind of writes a bit of everything. So second album will be much more collaborative. The first one was kind of a lot of ideas that had been floating around for a long time, mixed with some new stuff.
That's cool. Like that also leads me into your sound itself, which, like, I'm an Alter Bridge fan. I love Alter Bridge, and you definitely have vibes of that. I love a good heavy riff. Always have, always will. But you also have a surprise in there of like some fusions of other types of music, which, like, I was like, oh, what's this? This is cool. And I really was excited to talk about that. So I do want to talk about that. And I have a song that I want to play as well that is a perfect example of it. But first of all, just going into it a little bit more, because you mentioned that, it is a collaboration basically of all of you guys as well. So that always interests me as to who you guys are fans of that have helped to create the sound. And then also just from your own words, how you describe your sound rather than somebody else trying to describe it for you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Well, Alter Bridge, I'll take that as a great compliment. They're awesome. They're probably, as I was a teenager, definitely my most listened to band. Alter Bridge and Slash were as I was growing up, they were my kind of huge influences and inspirations really for getting into this kind of music. Like Alice in Chains are definitely another big influence, kind of sound-wise. We like the harmonies and the darker, grungier kind of stuff. Love all the grunge bands as well. Pearl Jam. Yeah. So it's a blend of kind of, the 90s sound with the more modern kind of Alter Bridgey, Tremonti style riffs. I mean, between the four of us, we listen to a lot of different music. I'm a huge Beatles and Pink Floyd fan.
Beatles, I love the Beatles.
Yeah, I don't trust people that don't like the Beatles. You have to like the Beatles.
Yes, you have to. I grew up on that, like, as well. My dad, he was a huge Beatles fan, and Roy Orbison too. I actually really like him.
Yeah. That's any of the older, the real kind of the songwritery songs.
Yes.
Like my dad was huge into Simon and Garfunkel, so I grew up listening to a lot of that kind of stuff as well. And Cian, like, me and Cian grew up together, so we listened to the same kind of music growing up. And then he's into a lot of other stuff, kind of jazzy stuff, and a bit of everything really. He kind of listened to.
See, I love that. I love it when your family has influenced yourself as well. The way you're saying it was your folks, and then it's same with me for my folks, and then like we're now doing that to our son with the stuff that we've listened to. So it's cool how that works with music. I love how that happens. And then you mentioned like the rest of the band that have all different types of influences as well.
Yes, Pat has been head fuzzy with his prog band that he's had for a couple of years. So he's big into prog, rock and metal and stuff like that. As well as everything else from, the 80s and 70s.
Oh, 80s, yeah.
And then Flash is kind of the same, but, the thrashier stuff. And,
love it.
So we do listen. If it's a good song, we'll listen to it. There's no kind of, I don't box myself into kind of going, I only like metal music,
I love that.
A good song is a good song.
Yeah, it's always, people do try to box you in, they try to pigeonhole you. And good luck, because it just can't be done. There's too many good
Yeah,
songs out there in different genres.
absolutely.
Yeah, and I love that you guys do fusion things in as well. Can you tell me a wee bit more about the fusion? We'll actually discuss that after this song, because I want to play Make a Life Again. Loved it. At the very start, I was like, oh, what's this? And then it starts pulling into the heavy riffs again. I was just like, this is one hell of a song. I love it. So we're just going to play this one now. This is Make a Life Again. Awesome song again, dude. Can you tell me just a bit about the fusion side of it as well? Like, just explain a bit more about that for people who are just hearing it.
Yeah, again, it's another thing. I was probably started off Beatles inspired with George Harrison and the sitar. So I listen to a lot of kind of world music as well, like Ravi Shankar, a lot of North African, kind of Moroccan music,
awesome,
the Middle Eastern stuff with the oud. So that was actually the intro to that is played on an oud that I bought in Turkey a couple of years ago.
Wow, cool.
Just enjoyed the sound of it or whatever, and yeah, kind of always been into fusion, and I've always liked the Irish fusion-y kind of stuff as well, Planksty and the horse clips, and there's always been that kind of, I think it's a very Irish thing to meld, cultures and music together. So I've just always liked that. I've kind of liked bands that add in a bit of world or folk kind of music with heavy metal.
I love folk, and Irish folk too. Like, we are so into that.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, I just love listening to it. It's almost like storytelling, with the music along with it, and a lot of emotion. And I always feel that from it. And then if you can,
I was going to say we're very miserable, aren't we? Like, but in a great way.
Well, they do say that, and I find that I was speaking to a few Finnish bands as well, and they say the same thing. It's down to the weather.
Definitely dark winters
can create a lot of melancholy, and all you can really do is go to the pub and drink and be merry and play music. So there's a lot of that in the Irish culture too, which I love. So I love that you are including that in with the music. I think that's so important nowadays. And the other thing I wanted to ask you as well is about your logo, because I know this is so random, but I love logos for bands. I've always done that. I'm a huge hymn fan as well, and I love the heartagram. I think it's like one of the most simplest, genius logos to have ever been done. And I love the story behind it. It was just, he was only like 20 or something like that when he came up with it. And your logo, I was looking at it and I was like, oh, that's really cool, because it's the type of one that looks like it could, rock out on your walls.
Yeah.
So I would just love to know the wee story behind it. Is there a story behind it, or was it just somebody thought, here, this is cool?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of the same. I like logos as well of bands and stuff like that. And, with the 13 Doors, we kind of went for the Roman numerals. I love history and stuff like that. So, and I just thought it would kind of throw people off. It confuses people a lot of the time. You get X111 Doors, or you get XIII Doors, or the DJ on Spotify calls it Z Doors. So I kind of enjoyed that aspect of it, and then wanted to try and come up with some sort of a symbol that was in that way related to the Roman numerals. And it was actually a Brazilian guy that did the first couple of single artwork covers for us as well.
Nice.
Because I saw the artwork he was doing, I was like, look, could you come up with a logo? Here's our kind of idea behind it. And yeah, he came up with that. I think that was the first or second draft, and I was like, yep, that'll do.
It looks good. And actually, it is one of those ones that definitely stands out that you would love on your wall, or, on a hat or a t-shirt or something. So it really works. I absolutely loved it. So I had to ask that one.
You can get it on both, actually. We have it on hats and t-shirts.
There you go, guys. You heard it here first. No, like I, it is definitely something that I want to get more of as well. I've got a wall now that I'm starting to go back to my teenage years of posters and things.
Posters,
like,
yeah.
And I'm like, do you still use blue tack nowadays to put up posters? But no, apparently not. There's this new thing that you use to put up on your walls to help your posters like last longer or something. So
but part of the fun is the blue tack pulling off the paint though as well, isn't it? Like this, yeah.
Gosh, that's right.
The nostalgia.
Yeah, big time. But yeah, so I'm excited about that. So I definitely want your logo up there somewhere. It's absolutely awesome. Love it.
Thank you very much.
So the next thing as well, we have another wee song coming up. Oh yes, it was the one that I loved the riff when I was listening to it. Again, huge riff fan, and it's the song Inside. amazing song again. You guys are killing it. Like the Irish talent here is just, I'm so proud. But look, I want to know just a bit more about this song, actually, its meaning. I don't tend to ask that a lot about songs, but this one really, it was really cool to listen to it. And I just want to hear from yourself more about the meaning behind it. And again, its creation too, if it has a wee story.
Yeah, no, it does actually. So most of that song was rewritten as we were recording it in the studio.
Oh,
so it's completely all the lyrics and the chorus progression and everything. So the riff was already there. But when it came into the chorus and the progression, none of us were really impressed with it. It was kind of like, yeah, it's an okay song. So we're like, why don't we just pare it back down and try and rebuild it from. So poor old Pat came in to record the bass, and a lot of the songs had been completely rewritten to the demos that he'd been practicing at home. So it was like, I'm ready. It's like, well, you're not ready because everything is different now. But yeah, the song, I mean, a lot of the lyrics, I think, in general across the album are try to remain in that positive, inspirational kind of vein, because I know that a lot of metal music can be quite dark and quite solemn, which I also love, and the same with Irish music. It's very solemn and dark. We wanted to try and go the opposite way and try and create heavy, dark music, but with uplifting lyrics. It's a song about finding the strength that lies within you and harnessing that, and believing that you can do what you want to do, which is kind of what we're doing with this project.
Yeah. Inspiring.
So kind of
I love that. See, for the band in general, like nowadays there's a lot of bands are, they have something to stand for, really, that they want to help with their fans. And for you guys, I'm getting that, that it is self-belief, believe in yourself, go for it, you can do anything you want to do. Is that basically what you guys are standing for? Is there anything else within that as well?
Yeah, that's kind of it. It's, if we can make one person's day better because they listened to the album or they came to a show and saw us and they go home feeling a little bit happier, I think that's our job done. I think that's what we're there for.
That's awesome. That's what I love about music. I can't really play any instruments or sing, but music just has always been a part of me. I remember even as a child, my dad, when we were in the car going on road trips or whatever, and he would always have something playing, and you could see how it got to him. And that's when I first realized that music can really do stuff. So this is where I've always said it, musicians are wizards. You guys can just create this sound that actually means something to somebody else, which is really cool. And I just, it's always been that way for me as well. And like I mentioned there, I cannot sing. But your vocals are incredible. And I just love, the sound, the tone. And I'm curious as well, have you always known that you could sing like that, or had you had to work at it to get it to where it is now? And did you also have to get coaching? And when you did get coaching, was there things that you learned that you didn't realize you could do?
That's a good question. So I actually, when I was growing up, I never wanted to be a singer at all. It was always, I just wanted to be Slash, somebody that could stand on stage with sunglasses on and try and be cool. That was the dream. And then I was roadieing with a band kind of when I was a teenager and just started singing at the side of the stage because you can't really play guitar at the side of the stage. So I'd start singing and then just started singing harmony lines and stuff more to keep myself entertained and just kind of kept practicing. So a lot of it was learned just by doing it and by, because you can also, if you're standing at the side of the stage, you can sing as loud as you want and nobody can hear you. So you can kind of practice without feeling conscious or self-conscious. But no, I kind of just learned from there. If there was something that I struggled with or whatever, I would look up why, or I'd try and look for singers that I liked and see what they do. I've had a couple of lessons to learn what not to do, or if something happens, if you're a couple of gigs in and you're kind of going, oh, this doesn't feel right, just to learn, what that is, what to do to avoid it. A lot of it is down to hydration and stuff like that as well. But no, it was just kind of keep going and see what you can do, and I like trying to push myself. And the guys in are all great singers as well. All the harmonies done live, and
that's cool. I love harmony too.
Yeah, I'm the same. I love love a good harmony.
I know that I mentioned earlier you're on tour at the moment. How's it going,
Yes,
actually?
it's very warm. No, it's going great. We were in Bournemouth on Thursday night down at
Mm.
Love Rocks
Oh, yeah.
festival, which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's
It
great.
was our first time at a really, really cool
Mm.
festival. It's like kind of what I imagine a mini version of the Isle of Wight was like back in the day, or
Nice.
just very laid back, very chilled out. So that was a great show, and so with this whole week we're touring with Shiraz Lane,
Love
who I think
them.
you had on the show recently enough.
That's
Yeah,
right, I did. They're amazing.
yeah. So we're in Nottingham tonight. Um, Tomorrow night we're in the Cart and Horses in London.
Nice.
Monday we are in the Gifford in Wolverhampton. The lad said they'd give me a fiver if I remember the whole route. Tuesday I think is Cardiff Fuel Rock Club.
Mm-hmm.
Buckley in Wales, the Tivoli and Buckley on Wednesday. Thursday in Blackpool, and then on Sunday we're going to be playing Wildfire Festival in Scotland.
Oh, that's meant to be brilliant, that one. I haven't got
It's
to that
great.
one
We
yet.
actually played that last year. It's great.
Oh, did you?
It's the highest pub in Scotland.
That's what they say, yeah. I love
Yeah,
Scotland.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to
Scotland's
go.
beautiful.
Oh, I'm jealous. And how
There's
do
still
you...
time. Book the flights.
I know I shouldn't I? Although
Yeah.
I don't like airplanes, so I'd have to get the boat.
Oh, the boat, yeah.
Yeah.
Even handier.
I know, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then I was going to ask you as well, if you have tips, because I'm always aware with this Rising Bands thing series as well, the younger bands who are starting out, they tend to listen to this show as well.
Mhm.
And like, have you tips on? I know hydration is super important, but as a singer, have you tips when you've got so many shows in a row, to stop that voice from, weakening? Is there anything? Is there tips apart from? I know there's a
No,
vocal warm up, isn't it?
Warm-ups help. Trying to avoid alcohol as best as you can helps. A pint or two is fine, but when you kind of start going past that, it does just dry out your voice for the
Yeah.
next day. Staying on top of the water and being relaxed. If you're kind of going on stage tense or nervous,
Mm-hmm.
you tend to close up your throat and stuff like that. And that I mean, for me, that would be the biggest one. If I'm not relaxed on stage, you really and you have to push your way through it, and then that damages it for the next day. And but yeah, kind of being laid back, staying hydrated, avoiding alcohol, and some warm ups.
The warm ups, yeah. And then
Yeah.
the other thing I wanted to ask as well, in particular because you guys are from Ireland, is from a touring perspective. I know that touring is expensive. I've spoken to many bands about this, especially nowadays, and especially coming from Ireland, because we always have to travel, have extra costs of boats and things like
Yeah.
that. So have you, first of all, a reality check for these younger bands, just to give them, what it really is like, and also if
Mhm.
you have tips on money savings, ways to save money on tour, that could be helpful for them as well.
McDonald's is cheap. Yeah. No, I mean, the reality of it is it's a very, very difficult industry and scene to tour, especially like you said, once you go on the ferry, the ferries now are outrageous costs.
Yeah.
Just because of the demand, there's so much demand for freight going back and forth. So if you're flying in and out, it's kind of a catch-22 because you can't really bring your gear. But you could get a Ryanair flight for very cheap, or an EasyJet flight for next to nothing. In terms of cost saving, you just kind of need to stay on top of things. Like McDonald's is great for breakfast and dinner, not good for the health.
No.
But it's good for the wallet.
Well.
And the likes of Travelodge and Days Inn and those kind of places save you. But no, it's a tough industry. Anyone going into it thinking that it's glamorous or amazing is well ill-informed. Amazing fun, but yeah, especially nowadays, it's a tough scene, but amazing fun.
Yeah, and like just on that, if you weren't pursuing music, is there any other passion that you would pursue?
It's always been a thing for me. Since it was because my dad plays guitar and sings as well, and my mom sings. It's always been around the house. And since I was younger than a teenager, Well, there was one stage where I just wanted to join the army. I was big into all that kind of stuff when I was maybe 12. But once that phase disappeared, it was always music.
And it's
Yeah, no, that's one of my things.
yeah, with musicians as well, it's just always going to be music. There isn't really anything else to drive it that can take, you know, it's just in you and it has to be done. And you know, that's why I'm always like aware with the smaller bands who are literally just starting out. Like even my son, he's started a band now as well.
That's
And yeah, it's so cool. And it's just, you know, is there anything as well, because you know you guys are starting to do really well, that you can offer to give them a wee bit of hope from the overwhelm? Because I know that when they're starting out, there's so much nowadays that new bands have to be able to do. It's not just like what it used to be. There's social media, there's streaming, there's so much else that they need to be able to do. So is there any like inspiration and help that you can offer to them, just to kind of say, like, don't let the overwhelm get to you. You can still do this. You can still get to where we're at now as well.
Yeah, no, you can definitely, and it's like a full-time job, but without the full-time pay. But it definitely helps if you've got a band of people that really want it. You know, if everybody understands what it is, and everybody's willing to work for it. Because, like you said, you've got the social media management, you've got all the Spotify stuff, you've got, you know, as well as performing, doing songs and traveling and all that. So I think you need a band where everybody wants to pull their weight, you know. So if all of your friends, if you're a bunch of friends together that are willing to work hard, it becomes much easier. After that, I think it just comes down to planning. Like, I detest social media and using social media, but you absolutely have to. So you just have to plan time to do it and stick with it, and, you know, be consistent. You know, shout loud, and the people that want to hear you will hear you.
And just like your band says, have that self-belief, you know, because,
Absolutely.
you know, that's, I think, in good songs, obviously, and ignore the haters.
Well, that's it. I can't remember. I remember reading somewhere before that, but the more people like you, the more people will dislike you. And it's nothing personal against you as a person. It's just, you know, the people aren't going to like your music, and that's fine. You're not out there to convert the whole world. You're just out there to find people that do like your music.
Yeah, to find your people, basically, that
you
can connect with. Yeah, I love that. I was going to ask you as well, with the audiences, comparing audiences from your homegrown country, which would be Ireland, to the likes of England and anywhere else that you've played, is there anything that you've learned from the audiences about your songs that may have surprised you? So maybe they've reacted to a song differently, you know, they love one that you're surprised by, or, you know, is there anything that you're learning from them even about the songs currently on tour?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, the one that seems to get the most reaction is See How You've Come So Far, which is our almost power ballad. Like, it's the softest song on the album, but I think because it's quite simple melody wise, and, you know, the lyrics are very easy to understand. You can't misinterpret them.
Yeah.
And so I think that one just seems to resonate with people. We've seen people singing it back, which is very cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. No, I mean, with the songs, people either like them musically because they're heavy, or like the lyrics because they're inspirational, and that's kind of what we're going out for, is trying to make someone's day better.
Which is what music is, isn't it, really? You know, that's
Absolutely.
what we go for, just to feel better, and it's healing. And I absolutely, you have to have music in your life. We need our musicians. We need you guys to keep coming. Random question for you as well. What would be your dream show to play? It could be anywhere in the world.
Dream show, that's a good question. That's a tough one. There's so many. I mean, I'm thinking of, you know, the bands I love would be like
even your top
Wembley
3.
Arena or Wembley Arena or Madison Square Garden. I'm sure was a terrifyingly amazing experience. And maybe the Budokan in Japan, because the Japanese go mad for
they do
for that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Japanese crowds
haven't broken into there yet, but
well, you have time. You know.
Yeah.
So look, we're just coming to the end here now, and I'm just wondering what is next for 13 Doors.
Yeah, so after this tour, we're going to kind of finish up the demos for the next album and try and compile, try and whittle that down to the songs we want in the album. Hopefully, towards the end of the year, the plan is to kind of get recording some of those songs properly, and then at some stage next year release album 2, and keep keep touring, try and get some more festivals for next year across Europe, and
Awesome.
and just keep the head down and keep going.
Is there anywhere in Europe that you'd really like to play?
Germany, I think, is a big,
Yes.
big place for rock. I was only over there a couple of weeks ago
Oh, really?
at a festival, and not with the band, but just at a festival, and
All right.
the crowds really, really love it.
They do.
And we do have a lot of Spotify streams from Germany and
Nice.
Belgium and places like that. So that's one of the good things about streaming, is that you can see where people, where your fan base is, where people are listening to you, and where you can kind of go. Germany, I think Germany's on the list for next year.
Yeah, I think we'd
sure.
definitely want to get to there, and we want to get to Helsinki as well. It's like really, really top-notch music scene over there as well.
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
Europe's it's definitely where to go as well. I definitely have to get going. And like, the last song that we're actually going to play is going to be Face the Truth. Love that one. And that'll be our wee last song. That's the end of our wee interview, and it's been awesome speaking with you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and I hope the rest of the
amazing.
tour...
Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're awesome. And look, here it is, guys. Face the Truth.
Can't speak your